His name was Oliver Lopez. He owned Oliver Towing. He was a loving father, a great brother, and a hard-working man who gave everything to the people around him. And the job that took his life required him by Florida law to show up to that apartment complex completely unarmed. Some people leave for work and never come back. This is Crime Spectre. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Oliver Lopez was a Jacksonville man who believed in building something of his own. He was a father, a brother, a friend who showed up for the people around him the same way he showed up for work. Consistently, without complaint, with everything he had. That business was Oliver Towing. He built it from the ground up over more than 2 years. That means the phone calls at midnight, the equipment payments, the client relationships, the insurance, the licensing, the late nights away from his children. Every piece of that business existed because Oliver Lopez decided it would exist and then did the work to make it real. His cousin described him publicly in the only way that matters when someone is gone too soon. Oliver was a very hard-working guy and a great friend, a great brother and a loving father. That statement is short. It is not short because his family had little to say. It is short because his family was too devastated to say more. They were too deep inside their grief to give Jacksonville the full portrait of who Oliver was. But the people who knew him filled that silence. Family friend Yuma Lopez put it this way: "When you leave something in the community gives it back." That observation carries something specific. It means Oliver Lopez was not a man who kept his warmth to himself. He distributed it. He gave it to neighbors and friends and colleagues and strangers who needed a tow at 2 in the morning and got a decent human being on the other end of the phone instead of just a truck. He was a father whose children are now navigating a future without the man who worked those late nights so they would have everything they needed. That is the loss underneath the headline. Not just a tow truck driver shot during a repossession. A father who left for work on a Tuesday night and whose children are still waiting for him to come home. Most people only encounter a repossession agent at the worst moment of a financial crisis. A missed payment. A lender running out of patience. A car that is no longer legally there sitting in a driveway that someone needs to reclaim. By the time a tow truck shows up, it means the paperwork has been filed, the notices have been sent, and the legal process has already run its course. The repo agent is the last step, the visible one. The one who gets the anger that belongs to a much longer chain of events he had no part in creating. Oliver Lopez understood that dynamic. He built a business around navigating it professionally. Late nights because that is when vehicles are accessible and conflicts are less likely. Careful approaches because the law requires repo agents to avoid confrontation wherever possible. A lawful job done according to a specific set of rules that the state of Florida wrote and licensed agents like Oliver are required to follow. What most people do not know is that those rules include a provision that has no parallel in almost any other licensed profession in Florida. A repossession agent is prohibited by Florida statute from carrying a firearm while on private property in the course of a repossession. That prohibition applies regardless of whether the agent holds a concealed carry license. The law is absolute on this point. A licensed repo agent doing their job cannot be armed. He drove to that location on that Tuesday evening to do a lawful job under those exact conditions. He was there legally. He was operating within the rules. And the rules that governed his profession required him to be unarmed. That complex sits on that same street in the Brentwood area of Jacksonville. It is the kind of place that has a parking lot full of vehicles on any given Tuesday night. Residents coming and going. Cars that belong to people living their ordinary lives. And that Tuesday night it was the location of a lawful repossession assignment that Oliver Lopez had accepted as part of running his business. He arrived around 10 in the evening. That timing is not unusual for repo work. Late nights are standard in the industry precisely because vehicles are more likely to be present and confrontations are less likely when most people are inside for the evening. Oliver had done this before. He knew the hours. He knew the risks. He showed up anyway because showing up was what he did. What happened next unfolded quickly. An argument broke out between Oliver and the owner of the vehicle he had come to repossess. These confrontations happen in the repossession industry. They are not rare. They are part of the documented reality of a job that puts an agent between a lender and a debtor at the precise moment when emotions are highest. But this confrontation did not follow the pattern of most. A man came outside from one of the apartments. Multiple shots were fired. Oliver Lopez was struck. Jacksonville Fire and Rescue responded and transported him to a nearby hospital. He died from his injuries. He had arrived at that complex to do a job. He had done everything the law required of him, and he did not survive the night. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office confirmed the shooting and opened an active investigation. Oliver Lopez was identified by family members after JSO initially withheld his name pending next of kin notification. Detectives from JSO responded to the scene and began processing evidence alongside first responders. The shooter ran. That is the confirmed status of this investigation. No description of the suspect has been publicly released by JSO. No arrest has been made. No charges have been filed. No confirmed connection between the shooter and the person involved in the repossession dispute has been established publicly. Whether the man who came outside and fired those shots knew Oliver Lopez, knew the vehicle owner, or was acting entirely in the investigation has not yet answered. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with information to contact JSO directly by phone at 904-630-0500 or by email at jackromatips@jackshrift.org. Anonymous tips can be submitted through Crime Stoppers at 866-845-TIPS. Oliver's family built a business. Oliver's family raised children. And right now Oliver's family is being asked to wait while the person who came outside that apartment and fired multiple shots into a man doing a lawful job is somewhere in Jacksonville living free. That gap between what happened and what justice looks like is the space this family is currently occupying. And it deserves to close. When word spread through the repossession community in Jacksonville that Oliver Lopez was gone, the response was immediate. People who do this work every day understood exactly what had happened and exactly why it mattered beyond the headlines. A fellow tow truck driver and friend put it in the plainest terms available. Behind every tow truck is a hardworking professional who faces risk, hostility, long hours, and difficult situations simply for doing a job that most people never fully understand. Today we remember not only a coworker and friend but also the sacrifices made every day by men and women in the repossession industry. That statement is not an abstraction. It is a description of Oliver Lopez's life. The risk was real. The hostility was documented. The long hours were the foundation of everything he was building for his family. And the work that most of the public never thinks twice about was the work he showed up to do that Tuesday without hesitation and without complaint. Repossession agents are among the most misunderstood workers in any industry. They are the face of a financial consequence they did not create. They arrive at the moment of maximum emotion and are legally required to de-escalate, retreat if necessary, and complete a lawful process without the ability to protect themselves that most other licensed professionals in Florida take for granted. What they ask in return is simple: the ability to do their job and go home to the people waiting for them. Oliver Lopez did not get to go home, and the people in his industry are now asking a question that his death has made impossible to ignore. How many more have to die before the job that needs doing comes with the protection that doing it requires? On Thursday evening, May 28, 2026, Jacksonville showed up for Oliver Lopez. Rain fell on a parking lot just off Blanding Boulevard near the Duval and Clay County line. It did not matter. Dozens of people gathered anyway. People who knew Oliver. People who had heard his name for the first time that week and felt the weight of it regardless. People who understood that a man who gave love to his community deserved to have that community stand in the rain for him when he was gone. That is exactly what Yuma Lopez had described.
And when you leave something in the community give it back. So I'm thinking this is the love that he give it to everyone, so he received it back.